Baseball is just a few days away, and I am extremely excited. I know you all probably are as well. Today's video is just going to be a prediction video. Take it for what it is. These are just what I think, so take it for what it is, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into this video. Make sure if you enjoy this video that you smash that like button. It is the #1 easiest way to show support for the channel. It takes 1 second. Just hit that like button. And if you're new here and enjoy the content, I'm making sports and sports card content every single day. So make sure to hit that subscribe button today. Again, just a little prediction video. This is a video that I'm really excited for and have really thought about a lot over the last couple of days. But with all that out of the way, let's get into it by starting with the AL East. The AL East has a lot of fun teams in it. First off, the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees, this might be the season that everything clicks together, in my opinion. I think they finally stay healthy. They win the division, have huge years from Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and DJ LeMahieu continues to prove that it wasn't just the Coors effect from his early days in Colorado. They win the division. Next up, the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, getting a wild card spot. I really think they will get a wild card spot. Blake Snell is going to continue to be a great pitcher. Austin Meadows is going to have a huge season. And Wander Franco going to get pulled up, protect Austin Meadows, and have himself a very solid season in his rookie campaign as well. Next up, we have the Boston Red Sox. Chris Sale continues his downfall. I really think he will continue to slip and slide. However, I do think Xander Bogaerts is going to have a big season and really show that he's one of the best in the game and really prove to fans out there that he's kind of taking up the mantle as the next great shortstop. Same thing with Rafael Devers, but I don't think that they are going to be nearly enough to eclipse the Rays or the Yankees. Next up, the Blue Jays. Vlad Guerrero has a bounce-back season, and Bo Bichette continues his offensive prowess, and I'm really excited to see where that team goes. I don't think the pitching is quite yet there, but they do have one of the best in Hyunjung Ryu. But I think that they're well on their way to having a team that is going to be a contender year in and year out. And as for the Orioles, the last team in the AL East, I do think they will finish last. At least you got Adley Rutschman coming up, so that'll be fun. And Trey Mancini is a lot of fun as well, so at least you guys got that. Next up, we have the AL Central. The AL Central is honestly one of the hardest divisions to really lock down. I think the Indians are going to have a strong season led by Lindor, Francisco Lindor. That guy's going to have a monster year set up for next season to get a monster contract. Here is another prediction, hot take maybe. I think he re-signs with the Indians. I really do. At least at this point, I think that Francisco Lindor re-signs with the Indians next offseason. And next up, the Twins. I think the Twins fall off just a bit compared to last season, but I do think Josh Donaldson has a big season, kind of a comeback season, if you will, and they fall just barely short. Maybe it goes to a 61st game, and they have to play the Indians in that final playoff game, that final spot game, but I do think the Indians do eke out that division. Next up is the White Sox. I think that they're just a little bit too young. They'll probably be a middle-of-the-pack kind of team. Next up is the Kansas City Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. might be pretty exciting if he can make it to the bigs. Mike Matheny, former Cardinals coach, manager, is there, and if he manages the bullpen like he did in St. Louis, it won't be very pretty. So I have them at the bottom, not quite at the bottom of the AL Central, but definitely among the worst in the AL. We have the Tigers, in my opinion, probably going to be the worst team in baseball, and yeah, it's not pretty. Some highlights for them is Casey Mize will come up and pitch well, and then Spencer Torkelson next year, I think he'll come up, but yeah, the Tigers, there's just not too much to say. Next up, we have the AL West, and this one is pretty fun. We have a team that everybody hates, and I'll get started with them, the Astros, Houston Astros. I do think that they will win the division. There's not going to be any fans to boo them. I do think they will lead the league in batters hit, so I do think they will lead the league in that. I do think Alex Bregman is going to come out on all cylinders with a chip on his shoulder and have an absolute monster year. And then the A's are an interesting team. They had a really good season last year. I do believe that Matt Chapman kind of comes into his own as an offensive threat. We know he's a defensive monster. In my opinion, he's the best defensive player at his position in the league, in the entire MLB, but I do think Matt Chapman will kind of come into his own on the offensive side of the ball. And I think Jesus Luzardo, the rookie pitcher, I really think he's going to show that he's going to be a long-term pitcher for them for years and years to come. Next up, we have the Angels. I think they show improvement with Anthony Rendon. However, I think the lack of pitching is really going to tie them down, but Anthony Rendon, Joe Adell, both going to have big seasons this year. And of course, they got Mike Trout. So, but unfortunately, because of their pitching, I do think they will be kind of a middle of the pack team. Next up, the Rangers, the Texas Rangers. Unfortunately for the Rangers, their pitching just isn't there. Their pitching just is not there. Their defense is among the worst. And for that, it doesn't matter how good their offense is. It doesn't matter how many Gallo bombs there are. I truly do think that because their pitching and their defense is so poor, they're just not going to be able to keep up. Next up, the Mariners, still in rebuild mode, still not quite where they want to be. They do have Shed Long, who I do think could have a good season. And Justice Sheffield, I think, will have a bounce-back season as well, but I don't think it's there. There will probably be cellar dwellers in that division. Switching over to the NL side of things, we have the NL East. So to get things kicked off, the Braves going to win the division. They're going to do what's expected of them and win that division. Freddie Freeman and the boys are going to do what's expected of them. Mike Soroka, all those great young arms in that rotation. I'm really excited for the Braves. The Nationals, the defending champions, I think they will win the wild card. I think Juan Soto has an amazing season. We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that because I'll do all my Rookie of the Year, MVP, and Cy Young, all that stuff after all this. Then we have the Phillies. I think the Phillies are going to have a good season too. NL East, much like the AL Central, is a very tough division to predict because there's these four teams in the Mets, Phillies, Nats, and Braves that are all very good, but I think the Phillies just can't quite get there. They're going to be middle of the pack due to their pitching. I do think Bryce Harper has a comeback year, has a bounce back year, and a huge season for them, but the pitching just not there. So for that reason, I got the Phillies finishing third. Then we have the Mets, middle of the pack team. I don't think DeGrom's going to make it too far into the season. He already got re-injured in one of their inter-squad games, so unfortunately, Mets fans, I have nothing against you, but I don't think the Mets are really going to be contenders this year. However, I do think the Polar Bear, Big Meat Pete Alonso, will have another good season and kind of prove the skeptics wrong. I think he is going to be a solid player for years to come. Then we got the Marlins. Yeah, they're going to be the worst team in that division for sure. I mean, anything could happen this year, so I could definitely be wrong on that prediction, but just on paper, they are just not there. Next up, my St. Louis Cardinals in NL Central, and I do have the Cardinals winning the division only because of their pitching, though. I do think that the pitching and defense, the defense last season was the team with the lowest errors in all of baseball last year. I do think Matt Carpenter has a return to his glory days at the plate. I think that the DH is going to be a godsend for this team, almost more so than any other team. But yeah, I definitely am excited for Cardinals baseball, and Dylan Carlson going to be a beast this year. Next up, winning the wild card is going to be the Reds. Mike Moustakas, Nick Castellanos, both joining that team, and that rotation is going to be awesome. Luis Castillo, the leader, the ace, and I just expect big things from the Cincinnati Reds. Then we have the Cubs. The Cubs, I think, find out, unfortunately, that Joe Madden was not the problem out there in Chicago. I think they fall back to the middle of the pack, and I know a lot of people are saying they're going to have a bounce back year, but I just don't buy it. I think that Joe Madden was probably their saving grace, if anything. And yeah, I think the Cubs kind of fall back to the pack. The Brewers are an interesting team. I think that, man, losing Moustakas and Yasmani Grandal to free agency is just going to hurt them. They're pitching. You know, you look at Josh Hader, he's great. He's one of the best relievers in baseball. He throws yackers, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and everything, but I just think that because of them losing Moustakas and Grandal, it's just going to be too much for them to overcome, along with their lack of pitching. They're definitely not going to be able to keep up with the Cardinals and the Reds in that department. So because of that, I just don't see it happening. The Pirates, going to be at the bottom of the standings this season in the NL Central, but I do think that Josh Bell puts up some good numbers, and I'm sure that a lot of teams will be trying to acquire him. I don't know how the trade deadline situation is going to be this season, if there will be one or whatever, but I'm sure people, if there is, or into next season, people will try to acquire Josh Bell, because I think he's going to have a strong season. Probably be one of the only players on that team to really have good numbers. Next up, we have the NL West. Yes, I have the Dodgers winning that division. I know, no crazy prediction there. I think Walker Buehler is going to have himself quite a breakout season, and Mookie Betts is going to absolutely annihilate in that lineup, surrounded by all those amazing bats. I mean, you got Cody Bellinger, Justin Turner, Corey Seager. The list goes on. I think Mookie Betts is going to have probably his best season of his career. Next up, we have the Diamondbacks. Madison Bumgarner, the Cardinal killer on that team. That's still super strange to see. I think he has a good season. I think Ketel Marte and Sterling Marte both have great seasons, but I definitely think Ketel Marte continues to prove that his season last year was not a fluke, and that he will continue to have just nuts offensive production. Next up, we have the Rockies. The Rockies, unfortunately, are going to be, even though they have Nolan Arenado, quite possibly the second best offensive player in all of baseball. Maybe, but definitely the best offensive third baseman. He's going to be a monster, but they're just not going to do anything. They're going to finish probably mid to the bottom half of that division, and it's just Rockies being Rockies, unfortunately. Next up, we have the Padres. Padres are obviously a very good up-and-coming team. I don't think they're going to be quite there yet. I do think Manny Machado is going to have a breakout season. I know he had a down year last year. He just got paid. People are saying that was kind of something to do with it, but I think Manny Machado gets it together, has an amazing 60 games, and I also believe Chris Paddock, their ace pitcher, proves himself to be among the game's best starting pitchers. And I'm really excited for this team moving forward. I still do believe that Fernando Tatis Jr. has a solid Tatis Jr.-like season. So I'm really excited for the Padres moving forward. And then we have the San Francisco Giants. I think they'll finish worst in the division. They're old. There's not too much excitement around them. Sorry, Giants fans. And Buster Posey's sitting out. So at least we get to see Joey Bart. It's awesome to think that we have the heir apparent to Buster Posey in Joey Bart. He seems to be almost kind of a carbon copy. He's a very good offensive and defensive catcher, so that'll be very, very interesting to see Joey Bart play in the MLB. All right, so now it's time for my predictions on Rookie of the Year. In the NL, I do think that Dylan Carlson, the Cardinals outfielder, he's a monster switch hitting. He's got good speed. He's got a plus arm. I do think Dylan Carlson will take it home for the NL Rookie of the Year. And for the AL Rookie of the Year, no, I'm not going to have any hot takes. I do think it's going to be Luis Robert. The dude's a monster. No, I don't think he's quite Mike Trout levels, but I think he'll hit probably 280, maybe 15 home runs in this shortened season or something like that. But that's going to be far, far good enough to get the job done for AL Rookie of the Year. So Carlson in the NL and Luis Robert in the AL. For Cy Young, Cy Young in the NL is going to be none other than Walker Buehler. I really do think he's going to have a monster season and a breakout year. I really, really do think Walker Buehler is going to have a monster year. Dude can strike out fools left and right. His ERA is going to be minuscule. I'm really excited for him. And in the AL, I think it's going to be Mike Clevinger of the Cleveland Indians. I know Garrett Cole is probably what a lot of people are suggesting or predicting, but I think Clevinger going to have just a monster year. His ERA is going to be close to 2.20. He's going to have a bunch of strikeouts, and he's just going to lead that Indians team. Like I said, in my opinion, I think he's going to lead that Indians team to a division championship. Okay, so here's MVP. MVP of the NL is going to be Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts in that offense, I can't fathom how crazy it's going to be. He's going to get so much opportunity. He's been mashing in summer camp, so that's awesome for Dodgers fans. And yeah, Mookie Betts is going to win the NL MVP. You guys are not going to like my prediction for AL MVP. It's somebody that everyone hates unless you're a fan of this team. It's going to be the Houston Astros third baseman, Alex Bregman. Like I said, he's going to have a huge, huge chip on his shoulder. I do think, trash cans or not, the Astros, we have to admit, they are a very, very good team. They've been a very good team, and I really do think Alex Bregman's going to hit close to probably 310, maybe 290 to 310, have 15 to 25 home runs, and it's going to be his year. It's going to be his year. Alex Bregman's going to be the AL MVP, and Mookie Betts is going to be the NL MVP. All right, so who makes it to the World Series? Who wins the World Series? This is probably the biggest prediction of the entire video, and I believe the 2020 World Series champions will be the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know. That's kind of a cop-out because they are one of the best teams. They are one of the powerhouses, but you know what? That team is absolutely stacked. Their rotation is good. Their lineup might be the best lineup I've ever seen in my entire life, and they are going to beat the Houston Astros in the World Series. It's going to be a 6-game series. I'll even give you a number. 6-game series. LA Dodgers finally get it done. And, I mean, if they don't win this season, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Their team is insanely stacked. Kershaw finally gets over the hump in the World Series and in his playoff woes. So, congratulations to the 2020 Dodgers. Is it the same? No, it's not the same. It's not 162 games. But it's what we got. So, I really do think that they are going to be the champions this season. And like I said earlier, if not now, when? If not now, when? So that's my predictions. For the 2020 campaign, this short sprint of a season that we have, 60 games. First pitch is on the 24th of this month, so coming up right around the corner in a couple of days. I'm really excited, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy it, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. We just eclipsed 2,000. Speaking of that, I just had a video come up, a giveaway. If you collect sports cards, I'm doing a giveaway on a video. I'll link it below. I might be giving this away if we can reach a secondary goal, but I'm definitely giving away these two, Mike Soroka PSA 10 and this Damian Lillard Hoops rookie cards. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you all. Join our Discord. We have an awesome Discord talking sports and sports cards. Thank you, everybody, for watching day in and day out. Your support has been amazing. I appreciate you all. And until tomorrow, I will see you in the next one.